Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we are inspired by Mary Beth Shaw from Stencil Girl, and we are creating lots of layers and drips on our page. So I'm starting off as I always do on pages like this and putting on some collage in the background, and these are just some torn up pieces from the Dina Wakley More Words tissue papers. I've got some vintage text, I've got some of the Tim Holtz tissue papers as well, just tearing up lots and lots of stuff in the background just to get some interest. This is a great way to break up a white background or a blank page, and again just make some interesting shapes in your background. So I've even got some paper dolls there, which I don't remember putting that down. There you go. It obviously gets hidden in the end. So one of the reasons I'm doing this is because in the journal I'm working in, I think this is my black Dina Wakley journal, I'm actually working on a canvas page and a watercolor page. So by doing the same thing on both pages and then giving it a light coat of gesso helps tie both pages together. It kind of knocks back that creamy color of the canvas, and it helps the white page get some tooth on it as well. So I'm just drying off the gesso. I completely forgot the word for a moment. And then I'm going in with some stenciling. So a lot of the stencils I've used on this page are Stencil Girl stencils. This one I really like. It's a great stencil for gel printing with. But I decided I was going to put it on this page again to get that sort of creamy tone from the canvas and sort of match those two pages up somewhat with a similar tone. So you can sort of see here I'm doing the same thing. With your paint, it's putting on stencils. You can see I am pouncing it out on my page first and then making sure that I only have a little bit of paint on my surface. So a big mistake a lot of people make when they're stenciling is they've got way too much paint on. You only need a tiny little bit as you are stenciling. This is a stencil from Scrap FX. Sorry, it's a mask, not a stencil. So what you'll see when I lift it up is actually the words left on the page. I did start off with a really light colour on that, but there wasn't enough contrast, so I added in some fuchsia to add a little bit of extra contrast onto my page. So masks are really fun to use to just add again another layer in the background. Now I'm going in with another Stencil Girl stencil. This one's a really fun one. I think it's a Sept Apter stencil. It's just got lots of different patterns on it, and it's one of those ones that you can just use sections of. You don't need to use all of it. Now I'm going in with some acrylic ink, which I just bought. This is a, is it sepia? Golden ochre, sorry. Acrylic ink, and dripping it down the page and making some really simple circles. And then when I've dried off a little bit, I'm just sponging off the excess and getting my fingers in and using it to darken up the edges. So this is just all about building layers. Next I'm going to drip down some black, or it could be a grey actually, I think, ink down my page as well. So I'm starting off with using just the dripper, and then I ended up using my paintbrush because I got a little bit more control with my paintbrush, and you can kind of force your drips a little bit more. I often find when I'm doing drips on my page that if I tip my page up a little bit, it helps obviously run down the page a little bit better. So when I'm doing my mid sort of, this is no way finished piece of artwork, I find that I tend to use greys rather than blacks, just so that it's not so dominating on the page. So you can see up the top that, you know, you've got those lovely grey tones in it. If you only had black ink, you can certainly water it down a little bit. It doesn't need to be straight black ink. And if you don't have any ink, you can always water down acrylic paints and do very similar things. So you can see here I'm overloading some of my circles with some extra ink and actually adding in some water too to get them to drip a little bit more. So this is an indigo ink that I am drifting down the page as well. Can you tell I just bought three new inks from the newsagents today, and I just want to use them all. So because I'm very impatient, you can often see me get my paper towel out and just dab off the paint. The great thing about acrylic inks is they soak into your page really quickly. They do dry fairly quickly as well. Once they are dry, they are permanent. So you can see I'm sort of doing a little bit of water over the top and spreading out some of the inks just to get some different tones. Acrylic paints are great at resisting each other, so I can still see those pinks coming through, but I'm starting to build up those translucent layers over the top. This is another Stencil Girl stencil, which I think is called Moss something, spinning moss, I don't know. And it's another mask, so you can see I'm using it in the same way I used those words before. This time I'm using a copper and going over it, so to pick up some of those tones from that golden ochre ink that I have on my page, and building up again some more level layers. Now I'm getting out that same stencil again, so you've got lots of repetition happening on the page. I'm repeating colours, so I've got those sort of golden ochre colours coming through. I've got the same stencil, so I'm repeating those on my page as well. And again with this one I'm sort of using that indigo-y night colour, so I'm picking up those colours from the darker circles I had down the bottom. This was a good way to hide the sort of top of those drips, so it sort of blended into the background. So now you can see that, you know, I've got a canvas page and a watercolor paper page, but you can't really tell the difference between them, which, you know, is really handy in the end. I decided, because I'd kind of lost my figure in the background, I was going to redraw over it, so I've just used my Stabilo oil pencil to redraw that and use a little bit of water to help pop it out, because the Stabilo oil pencil is a water soluble pencil. I'm also going around with an Inktense pencil in a dark blue to again pop it out from the background, and that's again repeating some of those colors that I had in the background. This is another Set Actor stencil, which I really love the word unfinished on it. It represents me and my art journaling so very much, because I feel like most pages I do, and I feel personally myself that I'm unfinished. I'm still a work in progress, so I like having that word in my journals when I'm not 100% sure where I'm going. So I mixed a little bit of the grey that I had and a colour called Sedona, which is a very warm sort of browny colour, which gives sort of this grungy feel to the page. It's sort of picking up some of those warmer tones underneath in the layers. Now I'm going in and drying, because I've got a fair few layers of paint down here, and I just want to make sure that everything's kind of dry. To make the letters pop out on my page, I'm going in with my Inktense pencil again to go on the outside edges, the bottom left hand side of each letter, to help pop it out from the background. And that's something I tend to do a lot with text, is to put some sort of highlight around the letters just to give them a bit of a shadow, so they pop out of the page. So you can see that word sort of now becoming much more of a focus on the page just by adding that little extra detail. So this is what I'd done, but it's really funny I had that word unfinished on this page, because even though I liked all the layers on it, it did feel unfinished to me. So then I had this stamped image sitting on my desk, and I thought, why not add that to it? And I loved how that finished off the complete page. So sometimes you can work and work and work, and it's not until you look around that's on your desk to think, oh yeah, that will work really well too. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make lots of layers and drips. I hope it encourages you to just keep working and adding. Remember, repetition is the key, whether it's colours or patterns on your page. Until next time, bye for now.